Hey, it's James Taylor here. Are you creative? Do you consider yourself creative? Do you identify as being a creative? I saw a fascinating study the other day by Adobe Corporation, and they asked people around the world whether they considered themselves creative. And what was amazing about this survey was only 39% of respondents worldwide identified themselves as being creative. In America it was slightly more, about 52%, in the UK it was 45%. And what blew me away was how few people consider themselves creatives. I believe we're all born as creative. So why do only 39% of people consider themselves creative? One of the jobs that I do is I work with a lot of great experts at creating online courses and retreats and workshops and live events. And something I've always noticed at the people that either take an online course or attend a retreat is very often when they hit a big birthday, usually a birthday with a 0 in it, or after a major life event such as an illness or some major change in circumstances, they often want to get back to their creativity, something that just inspires them as well. They pick up that guitar again, they start writing the first kind of tentative words in that book, they pick up that paintbrush, and they start working on that business idea that's been sitting there in the back of their mind. And that's often what I see a lot of people coming on these online courses or retreats. They're getting back to their creativity, they're getting that creative bug again, which is amazing. But why do they wait for that point in their lives to kind of get back to it? Picasso said that every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once they grow up. And so I think one of the key reasons for people kind of getting away from their creativity and only coming back to it a little bit later on is how we educate, is how we bring up our children. If you've ever spent time with a child, 3 or 4, and you see them with crayons, they're completely immersed in painting and drawing, and they're in what psychologists would call a flow state. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. They're creating extremely naturally. Often the art is very abstract. You've probably got those pictures, if you're a parent or a grandparent, you've probably got those pictures up on the wall that the kids have created, pretty abstract stuff with crayons. And that's what we call the pre-conventional stage. And then they go into school, and their crayons are taken away from them. And at that stage they enter what's called the conventional stage, and they're taught the conventions of life, which is completely normal. And often what you'll see is their art will become less abstract and more representational. They'll start drawing objects more, for example. Their speaking will become more literal rather than necessarily metaphoric. When you can add to that maybe a peer group around them that adds another set of conventions onto them, you can see how it's quite easy to see what we see in America is called the 4th grade slump, where children around the 4th grade, you start to see their creativity kind of drop a little bit. Very natural, because we're going through a conventional stage. But as adults, we need to come out the other side and go into what we call the post-conventional stage, where we look at conventions as useful signposts, but are also willing to think for ourselves, to challenge conventions, and sometimes even to break these conventions as well. It's called the post-conventional stage. So I think what's actually going on a lot with creativity, and why so few people identify themselves as creative, is through the education system they've kind of told to follow these conventions. And you need to be a little bit unconventional if you're going to be creative as well. And often I think what's happening is when adults hit that big birthday, when they start picking up that pen again, they start picking up that guitar or working on that new business idea, what they're really saying is, I want my crayons back. I want to get that creativity thing back that's been there all along, but it's been sitting dormant and maybe been pushed down and crushed down. So I would say to you, you are creative. It doesn't matter what anyone tells you, or how you're being brought up, your education system that you've gone through as well. You are all creative if you're watching this just now. The key is, how do you best leverage that creativity, and how do you develop your creativity skills? Thanks for watching. Hi, it's James here. Did you enjoy that episode? If so, there's 2 things that we can do to continue the journey together. Firstly, I would love if you to subscribe, give us 5 stars, and leave a comment. Secondly, if you go to jamestaylor.me and enter your name and email address, I'm going to send you some free goodies all around creativity and innovation. Look forward to continuing the journey together.